No, no pressure.
It's just for us. It's okay. Good morning, JD. Yay!
Good, good morning. How are you, Julie?
Good. How are you? How are
Good.
you?
I'm good. What's going
And Larry's here. Yay. All right, I'm gonna
on?
get my romper room on here going.
Everyone. Oh, I'm sorry. Eight, five,
Good
two,
morning. Good morning. Good morning, Larry. I think I
eight,
said
Wait,
that.
eight, five, two, 151,
Look at JD's
7.
out there in the woods.
really?
That's RENEE.
Yeah.
You're out on the trail.
Okay. Yeah, in the forest today.
Make, make sure that beaver doesn't cut down the tree behind you.
It's gonna land on your head. Good morning. Oh, there's Mickelin. Hi, Mickelin.
We're not even thinking about working on the 22.
No worries, Larry.
Hi,
I'm gonna give
everybody.
it one. Good morning.
Okay, I'm gonna start and start making payment. Now, question, in terms of making payment, do I call? What's the best way to do it?
Navigate to the terraces of Los Gatos.
Seb wasn't that wasn't part of the question. Seb's talking to his AI.
Yeah, there. Oh, like he doesn't know how to get there. Okay. All right. Let's have some fun. Larry, Mickelin,
Larry
JD,
Micklin.
we're gonna do because Catherine's not on yet. In fact, I'm gonna text her in a second. But we're gonna do uh our elevator pitch, our elevator speech. If we're at a seniors industry networking event and we're introducing ourselves. So we're gonna go ahead. We'll have Carlos, you can start.
Really?
Well, so nice to meet you, Carlos. Have you been to this event before?
Actually, in and out. Sometimes I get too busy, but I regret it because I really like it over here.
Awesome. So tell me about what are you, your SRES? So tell me a little bit about you and your work.
Well, I've been in the business for the last 27 years, and I love to help people, but especially seniors. I want to learn more about you and anybody who is involved in helping a senior so we can put resources together and we can help them to stay at home or maybe move out of the area or move to another house.
So you love to help people. So what things do you help them with specifically?
Well, specifically, like I said, sometimes we have to listen and see what they really want. And most of the time, I would think that they want to be independent. So since they want to be independent, maybe building an extra room so we have in the house for them to have their independence, but still be part of the family and listen to what is going on because isolation is the worst part of being a senior, what do you think?
So when you talk with families, so what kind of issues do you identify that you can help them with the services that you provide?
Well, the services I provide mostly is resources. So we have a team that we put together a plan for anybody in a unique way. So I cannot say this is an standard thing. Everybody is different. Everybody has different needs and wants. And I would love to consult with my team and see what is best for them, as well as listening to what they want, right?
Definitely, definitely. So um when you meet some new families, do you get them from referrals from your other clients or how does that work for you?
Uh, Everybody knows that we never know where the business is coming from, right? So there are a lot of factors. That's why we are all over the place. And this is one of the factors, being part of a team like Seniors Real Estate Specialists, so we can help each other coming up with a new idea of how to reach out, how to find people who are in need. Like you said one time, the thing is, we have the resources. The thing is to find the client, and that's our job. Marketing, I'm not sure if marketing is the right thing to do for me because I don't have the resources for marketing. So I'm looking into word of mouth, and for me is letting people know who I am and what I do.
Well, that's marketing. That's
I would
marketing.
love to have advertising, which it would be something like a podcast, maybe you talking good about me.
That's good. Yes, exactly. That's marketing. We all have that. Like, okay, we're gonna go off. We're done with networking now. We'll talk about marketing. That's so nice to meet you, Carlos. Yeah, don't get me
Way
started
better.
on marketing. Well, that's a whole nother show, a whole nother episode, which I would love to do. Um, Anybody else want to, JD, you want to do an elevator pitch, elevator speech? JD went on his trail again.
He's taking the escalator.
Hi, good morning, Jessica.
Hey, good morning.
Hi. We're Catherine's not on yet,
I'm
so we're
Seb.
there's
Hello,
Seb.
Seb. Seb, I love you. I mean, I have some for you.
Careful, he's married.
Okay, I mean, I wasn't coming on to him or anything.
We all love Seb. I love Seb.
Are you married, Skip?
Me? Or
Yeah.
Seb? Seb's married, I'm not.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Why? Nobody will have me.
You
I'm
have
hard-
you,
I'm
and
hard.
that's all
I'm
that
hard to get
matters.
along
Are
with.
you kidding me? Oh, no, I don't think you're hard to get along with.
Yeah, you haven't spent any time with me.
Well, let's change that this year. Let's make a change.
All right, you come up here.
No, you come down here.
I can't travel. What do you do with your hair?
I'm just kind of like just poofing it out a little bit. Kind
There.
of.
Now that looks good.
Yeah. Mhm.
Jessica, we're doing networking senior industry networking event elevator speech or introduction.
Senior living elevator speech or introduction, like tell me like you're introducing yourself to the senior living.
Yeah, so like you're at a senior living industry or senior industry networking event and you're just meeting new people, all of us professionals in the business.
In
So
the ecosystem, right?
yeah.
Okay, I'm just about to like post this on LinkedIn. Let me show you what I just created here.
Yeah, nice.
And we have a virtual conference coming up. Mark and I are creating a virtual conference for senior living ecosystem networking. We're hitting up Compass. Like the first day is senior living ecosystem. The second day is like, you can come to both. The second day is going to be more real estate rich. And the first day is going to be more senior living ecosystem rich. So, okay, let me look at okay, so this.
Well, you know what? That's just fabulous. What a great idea.
I don't know if you guys could see this. I don't know.
And I made you co-host, so you should be able to
Oh, okay.
share screen.
Okay. So if you can see this, maybe this isn't the best way to do it. That's not the best way to do it. Hold on.
It's an eye test.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me find.
Good morning, Lin. Hi, Jan. I didn't say hi to Jan yet. Hi, Jan.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Good morning. Wait, is that the young Kim from Keller Williams in Cupertino a long time ago?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, good to see you. This is
Good
good. Yeah,
to
sorry,
see you.
I'm off camera for a little while. I'll be on camera in a minute.
I'm trying to find how to best show you this. So maybe I'm gonna do it like,
You had it on share screen before.
I know, but you couldn't really see what you didn't really see the picture that I was trying to, it wasn't,
Well, it was small, but I don't know what you can do to make that bigger.
I
Yeah,
know,
that's-
so that's why I'm trying to find a different way to
Oh.
do you guys. So I
I
think if I send it to you, if I send it to myself in an email and then do it, I think that might be a better way
Well,
to.
just put it up again and we'll just talk about it.
Okay, wait, but trust me, it's just gonna be worth,
I
well,
think this is getting complicated.
I
Just
just sent it to you, to Julie, but I'm just sending it to myself too.
Well, let's see if I can figure that out.
when I went to college, I learned to talk about something in a natural way without giving a pitch. Just
Yeah.
try, like a conversation, like we did have, Julie, like conversation.
Yeah.
Can you see
Yeah.
can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I'm preaching, and I think this is what I think that the real estate market really has an opportunity to get very aggressive in this area when we're talking about people in this stage of their life. Because, I know Seb, you're kind of like my thought on Seb is you're really looking for 55 plus. 55 plus is a huge range. It's not just the 55-year-old that's kind of coming to that place in their life. It's also their parents are still alive too. So it's kind of like multi-generational. And I don't think you could talk to a client that's 55 plus and not bring up their parents and kind of see like where they're at. But I think if you're going to go into the senior care ecosystem, I think where real estate agents have been asleep for many years, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't think that you were kind of aware of like the placement agency that's been brokering seniors. This has been going on for 30 years. It's a billion-dollar industry that's really starting to shift rapidly. One of the reasons why it's shifting is because the real estate market is waking up and they woke up.
Oh,
And
yeah. You
I'm
are
like,
right.
we had
That's
no
right.
idea. We had no idea this was going on.
Mhm.
We have no idea, like, and who are these people with no clinical background, no real estate background, and not really have the kind of resources and connections. The problem with the senior care market, and I can speak very truthfully to this because I was part of it. We're all doing our job. I'm bringing in the business for the home care company, the assisted living, they're bringing the business in for assisted living for the company they work with. Hospice is fighting over dying bodies every day. We're all in the business of business. This is what Gen X is going to wake up to as well. Gen X is not really seeing the senior care ecosystem as a business. And so they don't understand that when something happens to their parent or struggling, they're getting pulled into this portal of an ecosystem that is looking to make money. And so you think that you're getting the care, your parents are in the hospital, you think, you hire this caregiving company. Yes, they're getting care, they're getting a piece of that. But if Gen X really understand the ecosystem as a business, that would create things differently. So this is what my pitch would be if I was a real estate agent. This is what I would do. This was, if I still home care. I would be telling and pitching to real estate, stop paying for these referral leads. Stop paying. Get information on financial literacy. Let me teach your staff. Let me teach your crew. Let me teach the people that you work here that are in a position that are facing your customer, that are client facing, to teach them about step up, capital gains. Your people should be a pass through of knowledge to the Gen X generation. Knowledge is power. What we've done is we have taken away the power from the families and told them, like, this is the way, this is what you do, this is what Medicare pays for, this is what Medicare doesn't pay for. Your family's going to be safe. They're going to get 3 meals a day. They're going to pay, and it's like kind of leading into like, this is where you are in life and this is what happens. And this is what's been happening with our aging population for the last 30 years. What people don't know about what is imploding inside of that model right now, where Gen X doesn't have the family, there's not the transfer of wealth. That real estate, that piece of real estate is that last financial anchor for the families. And so they don't look at it like equity. I can tell you this for sure. Everybody just comes to the stage in their life, they're very emotional, and they're just like, I guess this is what I have to do. And there is a lot of truth to that, but they're making these decisions that my pitch is people cannot make a care decision or or understand care costs if they don't have financial literacy. They don't have if they can't make a care decision if they don't have financial literacy is basically what I'm saying. Smart care decisions happen with financial literacy. Now, the business that is imploding, this is who's going to win. The more transparent you are, the more people trust you, and trust is the new currency. So if you are leading with knowledge and information and you're giving people quality information, you become a source of trust. That is not what this ecosystem is built on right now. The is built on venture capital. It's built there are sole proprietors, there are franchise owners and administrators, there's a lot of really good people out there, and I don't want to discount them. But I'm telling you that they are the outliers. There's a lot more bullshit in this industry than anything else. And it's a lot more run by corporate greed, power, stale mail. That's what is in this industry, but that's what's starting to shift. And one level of unsustainability that's happening is you're getting such an increase of sales funnels. Like I thought we were at an apex on craziness on sales funnels, and we really is exploding right now. So all those layers of complexity for families and confusion and not knowing to do, we just put like a million more leads in the funnels in this space. And that's where Gen X is going to be like, they are the cut through the bullshit generation. We're going to cut through the bullshit. How much does this cost? What's the best thing for my parent? I want to have access to that because nobody can afford to burn money anymore. Nobody can afford to burn money anymore. So I think the messaging for, when you come into this space with these people is to say, I want to teach you, I want to give you some basic literacy. I want to show you basically what I'm seeing in this market. Basically the poor decisions or the lack of literacy that people have, especially in this industry. I want to teach you, you guys, you want to be the leaders and you got to lead. You have to have a trusted crowd. You as a real estate agent want to trust that they know it. So I guess the point is how we shift this is saying, asking the questions, do they understand this? And if they don't, you need to explain to them is like, well, I find it very difficult to refer to you if you don't have this basic knowledge. Let's get together. I'd like to explain to you this basic knowledge so you understand how to help these families make this decision. I don't know if you guys know, her name is Sherry Babel. She was in the industry for over 20 years. She started a company called Catalyst Senior Solutions. And what she said is the hardest thing for families to kind of cross that bridge into senior living, to make those steps, is there's a couple of things. There's finances. We have VA benefits. I don't understand about Medicare. I got a life insurance. I have these assets. I only have the home. I think we have to sell the home. Mom doesn't want to sell the home. I was going to retire, move back to California, this home. We got to hold the home on the home. And it's so this is the kind of where nobody in senior living is explaining to me what their options are. But so anyway, so Sherry sees this and says, not only are the administrators and the sales and marketing people not only are they not financially literate, right? They don't have the time. This is hours of time you have to spend with the families. So she created a company that created this financial concierge service, right? And what she does is it's like $200 something a month. It's nothing. It's peanuts. And so when somebody's touring a senior living community, they go, hey, do you want to talk to our financial concierge service? Because, you have a lot to go over and you don't have to pay for this. And this will help you guys process things. And if you believe that this is right for you and how do we get there together? So a lot of families go, yeah, because it is time consuming and there's a lot of emotions and there's questions. So she created this company and we're part of the vendor source or resources or one of the tools in the toolkit. So they'll call Mark and me and go, we got this family. They have to move the parent now. They definitely want to sell the house. They definitely want to sell the house, and they just don't know how to we just need some more. They want to do a loan for like $100,000. So we get on the phone with them. Sometimes they want a really small loan, something that we can't really do. Sometimes I have a real estate license, I think everybody knows, and I will identify an agent for them in an area that just happened recently. That they didn't have a listing agent and they just needed one. I can do that for them, no problem. I can source somebody. I found a Compass actually agent in Massachusetts. Sometimes they want to look for those agents that'll float them, right? Because it's a small amount of money. So Compass and companies like that can be used for them. But my point being is there is a whole company that caters to financial concierge for assisted living. I see this being a movement in this industry for assisted living and for home care, because home care, I've never seen anything like this before either. All these home care companies, these people that were leaders in the space are getting more and more of these contracts, grants. That's not the people that we would service. We service people that had a lot of money, ultra high net worth people, could afford, $20,000, $12,000 a care a month. And I'm telling you, the pie is getting smaller and smaller. And you could see this, and I know this to be true because I talk to people all across the country in home care. And so they see the same thing that I see. So this pile is getting smaller. And like real estate agents should have been brokering seniors this whole time, because they understand. They also, I think the other thing that I think that real estate agents bring to the table is none of these placement agencies, and no offense to any of them, okay, it's just the model. They're not negotiating for the clients. They're always negotiating to get more pay for themselves. If you're a real estate agent and you're not doing placement, and some people are, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but if you come into a place as a real estate agent and go, you always advocate for your client and I negotiate for your client. That's your client. You have a fiduciary responsibility to your client. You should be, I'm helping this family prepare for the sale of the house. I want to help negotiate, their fees here. I know that they didn't go through, if you're going to be a referral source, I know they didn't go through a lead generator. I know you pay 7,000 plus, 150% the first month of rent. I like to negotiate the community fee. They're happy to pay it. Nobody does it. The Gen X doesn't understand that this is negotiable.
Right. So
don't.
I'm gonna jump in here, Jessica, because that's a really good segue. Because Avery put in the chat, and I would like to segue over to Avery because he is a fiduciary. So go ahead, Avery, if you would like to jump in here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jessica. It's great to hear what you have to say. First of all, I am not a realtor, so please don't throw rocks. Julian was very kind in inviting me from the CSA group. So I am a licensed professional fiduciary in California, and a certified senior advisor as well. But I actually function as an elder care strategist. And so, Jessica, it's great to hear what you're saying, because the clientele that I serve are usually the adult children or the spousal caregivers. And so if you have if you have someone who calls you up and say, I think mom needs care, I think she needs to go into assisted living, I'm not quite sure what to do. Do I need power of attorney to sell the house? There's this trust thing. Do I need a lawyer, an accountant? What about these medical decisions? And so what you see a lot with the professional fiduciaries is that they're happy to do all of this if the senior has already made the arrangements years ago with the lawyer. They've been put in the documents as power of attorney or healthcare agent or trustee, and that's great. A couple of problems is sometimes the families, they don't want to give up all of that control. And the other thing is that the professional fiduciaries can get quite expensive quite fast. We're talking, 1 or 2% of a family's trust size per year if they're managing things for the family. And so I think you're completely right, Jessica, that we're moving into this phase where the children and the spousal caregivers, they want more information. And I think you're right. We should definitely be advocating for this financial literacy.
I feel like what my role here is now is to explain to people how it was and how it is right now. Let's talk about the professional fiduciary. Let's talk about PFAC. So in 2004, 2005, there was a six series article that came out. Series isn't the right word. Editions in the LA Times, and it talked about fiduciaries. There used to be conservatorships, conservators, or like in San Luis Obispo County, the county, but there was 15 conservators. These were neighbors to people that were conserving people. And then, like I said, we cannot have neighbors conserving, taking over financial responsibility, taking over the homes, taking over the cars. And they created professional fiduciary and licensing. And that happened in around 2005. And a lot of like care managers, fiduciaries that were kind of, you know, I wouldn't say underbelly, but kind of like this is what a rising issue is happening. And it became a problem, right? Because it became predatory. This is what's happening right now. The senior care ecosystem is becoming very predatory. Let me tell you something about trust officers. There used to be trust officers that used to manage a lot of care managers. There are hardly any trust office departments in state of at least California right now. This is what happened. They started kind of going, well, we can only handle people that have $10 million of assets. Oh, we can only handle this. So they started, anybody with $10 million of assets or less, they started giving to professional fiduciaries. Okay. So professional fiduciaries have to advertise their fees. They have to share it with the public. So I was the middleman with a lot of fiduciaries, and the fiduciary go, hey, can you find out what they're charging? I would find out what somebody was charging, and I would go, here's their menu, right? And these fiduciaries are charging at least 1% of the sale of the home. Now you have fiduciaries that will only use the same agents. They don't like that. So they're not like referring to different agents. They have this one guy, they're giving them all the business, and they're getting 1% of the sale of the house. Banks used to charge 1% of the sale of the home of the estate. So that's why fiduciaries started doing that. So a lot of fiduciaries are getting 1% of the sale of the home, right? That's a lot of money. Fiduciaries, I mean, look it up. It's public information about how many, and I'm not saying anything to you, Avery. I'm saying that this is a problem. This is a problem that doesn't have enough like guidelines around it. Like we're shifting it over. This is something that they're looking at. I know that they're looking at this because why are just professional fiduciaries just getting that? And then why are they picking the same real estate agents? That's not like professional fiduciaries have a responsibility, and they have to, like, anybody that's getting kickback or anything, you know, that is a big no-no in the professional world. Yet we're seeing it more and more of it. Because again, there's not enough guidelines over the system. We're not streamlining this enough. We're not giving people enough options. You'll always say fiduciaries will always place somebody in a community because it's a better, safer place for them rather than burn up their money and trying to manage something in their own home care setting. You see that a lot too.
Does the Professional Fiduciary Association,
PFAC?
They have a code of ethics. We have a code of ethics. So,
yeah, we do have a pretty robust code of ethics.
Yeah.
But Jessica, I do think you're right, because what I do see in the space is part of the problem is the fiduciary. And so when they find a professional, they just want to always go through that professional, but that's not always in the best interest. Like you're pointing out of the senior and the client in the middle there. And so I completely agree with you. Like I said, it gets really expensive really fast. And I do think there's a place for the professional fiduciary to be there. Obviously I got a license. But yeah, I think the more that our clients and the seniors and the children know about this, the Gen Xers, and the more informed they are, and they know that they have more choices, I think it'll help and really reflect in the real estate space as well. When they realize, hey, these are senior real estate specialists, they know what to do. And so I know you see that trend in the Compass Plus now, I see as well. So this is great to hear.
One of the things that's being created now, and Jessica will notice this as well, because these industries, these ecosystems, they're combining. In fact, this next couple of years, we're gonna be a behemoth industry all together.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have better connections. That's why I'm saying it's like where the real estate market, the opportunity for the real estate agents to pair up to these companies, like there's nobody closer to the, if you're looking at the real estate, the people that are closest to the real estate are the people that have a home care situation or they're going into assisted living, right? There's got to be a sell the home. We got to pull equity out of the home, or we got to sell the home. But the professionals that are surrounded is they're not looking. We have not the senior living. This is what I do like about Cherry's company, but they're not looking about, okay, we're going to look at we're going to look at what your finances are for the next some years and see if we can kind of cover that based on our average length of stay. But nobody knows. Nobody knows when somebody's going to turn left. Nobody has a crystal ball on that. So what you have is people are going into the ecosystem right now, and there's not a holistic approach. I know this to be true 100%. They are not talking about holistically, financially, what goes on with the family or worried about what that equity looks like or the family legacy. 100% no. I'm here, I'm doing my job. And you say that the real estate agents have a very like ethical, they have some ethical guidelines and code of ethics. I just did that article with Wayne Bell, who is the former commissioner of Department of Real Estate, and he's saying more than half the real estate agents, we're not talking about the agents on the phone here or on the spot. We're talking about, he says half their agents do not understand tax implications. And they say they do and they don't, or they don't care, or they're not helping the families, and that's the problem.
Oh yeah, I know. I featured that article, remember?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
yeah, and that's
what the real estate market is highlighting that you need to understand this. If you're leading with education and you're educating Gen X and you're educating these partners that are just doing their job, there are such silos, they have such blinders on, they're such part of the machine of doing what they're told to get the business in, that if you start explaining to Gen X, we're all in business and we're all in business to get our hands on your parents, legacy. But
Yeah.
who do you trust? Who do you trust? And that's going to be the difference. If you lead with education, then that's going to be the source of trust.
Mhm. Okay, Carlos, go ahead.
So my point of view is all I need to do is be informed, but I cannot teach anybody because I'm not an expert. The moment I become an expert, I get a lawsuit. So I don't want to get involved in telling people about taxes or about a holistic way of living. My job is just to sell a house or buy a house.
No,
And
I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to stop.
Hold on.
No, Carlos.
Let me finish my sentence.
Okay.
Julie, you got time. We got another half an hour or so.
If I have the resources to send them to a senior living, they have a holistic way of helping the people. They have their own people. I don't have to find anybody else. They already have it. So
No, I disagree.
They are very inclusive. They are not going to let me in until I refer them so many times so they remember me. So
Wait,
next time.
Go ahead, Jessica. You go ahead.
Are you talking about your relationship with the senior living community?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So they will refer me if I give them referrals. Otherwise, I won't get referrals from them.
And I what I'm saying is, what I'm saying, there's only one way to find out, Carlos. There's only one way to find out if that's true or not, because if you do come in to the communities and start educating them, that is a difference. Because I'm like, I don't know, this Carlos does. And I guess what Julie, you were about to say is the problem with agents, and this is the one that I always use an example, and we used an example with Wayne. A 97-year-old woman was placed within this last year. The family sold the house in Irvine, California. They made $3.5 million from the sale of the house and almost paid $1 million in capital gain. And the real estate agent, we have no idea. Did they know or did they not know? The family didn't know. The family did not know that they had to pay that much in capital gains after the house was sold. So it leads you to you ask, did the real estate agent know or not? There's a possibility they just didn't. is there a possibility that the real estate agent felt like my job, I was hired to sell the home? If they want to talk to a financial advisor, a tax accountant, that's them. But here's the responsibility as a human being. You could have, I'm not worried too much about a 97-year-old woman who now has $2.5 million, because I think that she'll be okay, unless she lives to 197. But the point being is who wants to wipe their ass with $1 million and just gift it to the IRS? Okay. And then also, that is one example of some family that's going to be okay. What about these families that the margins are so tight that now they don't have money for the rest? You want to be you want to be part of that chain that has this person that is now going to be destitute, because what happens is we're all doing these estimates, right? And this is what's happening. You need to understand this, that in senior living, what's happening in senior living also is that people are getting evicted because now they're experiencing behavioral issues. Now they're not doing the rent increases. Do you understand that people will lock in a rate and they have to have their yearly, or whenever they feel like, whenever they do a rate change, whether it's their yearly rate change or or in the mid-year, they have to notify the families within 60 days. Some companies do 90. So you locked in a rate. You locked in a rate in assisted living, you're packing your mom, and you get a 10% increase in your rate before you even move in. Because it's just the machine, and families like, are you kidding me? We locked in this rate and you're going to do 10%. I didn't even get there yet. It's like 10% years ago on the average cost of $4,500, but now the average cost is between $7,000, $9,000 a month.
How is that? Is that some fine print in the contract? That's because these are leases. These are month to month.
This
So
is
with
why-
month to
this is
month,
why-
it's different.
This is why real estate agents should be doing this piece for the families. This is why because they're asking
Exactly.
these questions,
Yeah.
and the placement agencies are not. They
Because
wouldn't.
they don't know anything.
They don't. They just don't have
Yeah.
the same background, and they're not thinking. They're not in a fiduciary responsibility to the client. The placement agencies are only in a fiduciary responsibility to themselves. I'm not hating it. That's just the game.
No, that's the business model.
That's just the business model.
Yeah.
And so that's why you have to say, it's like I said, like the real estate, people go, oh, you'll never take down a place for mom. We could talk about that. I don't want to talk about them right now. And I go,
Well,
if
that's
you-
not even real estate. That's nothing.
but you
I mean,
gotta
that's,
understand, you have to understand why this came about. You have
that's
to
the hotel.com. That's what's that? Hotel.com.
But you
you
gotta
know.
understand that there's no such thing as a senior living real estate investor. There's no such thing as senior. There's very few investors that are invested in senior living, okay? It's a real estate model. Real estate is used to paying for referral fees, and that's how this whole shit model started, okay? And so what's happening now is A Place for Mom is imploding. They are reseeding. And there's so much more I want to tell, but I'm gonna get to that later.
Well, we could have a whole nother episode on that.
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
what's happening is there's a lot, them and others are under major investigations is what's going
Yeah.
on right now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of shifting. And like a little birdie told me that A Place for Mom is kind of shifting towards, they feel like it's more home care is where they want to go. And I'm like, oh God, no, this is the end. That is the end for them. If that's what they think, that's the end. So but I think where the beauty of what this new era of senior living and the ecosystem is that we need to all cut through the bullshit. You need to leave with the most impactful messages so that Gen X feels like they have somebody to trust. Transparency is the new trust. Trust is the new. If you are, I cannot say this. I created here locally, I went to all the home care companies, I got all their rates and all their minimum. So now I have the list that everybody wants to see, and I share it with people because it's like you can't make a smart carrier decision if you don't have financial clarity. And so the medical system, and when they shoot out of the medical system, what they don't understand is this is a really, really big topic, and I really feel like we should all collectively understand this, and we should be messaging this. What families hear from the doctor, what families hear from the hospital, what they hear from the skilled nursing, they hear this constantly. We really recommend 24-hour care. So I've seen this over the years, and families like, oh my God, we got 24-hour care. We can have 2 hours. There's going to be nobody there in the middle of the night, and they get so paranoid about this 24-hour care. And I say to them, I go, wait a minute. When they say this to you, do they say temporarily and then you scale back? Did they say long term? No. For years, people just hear 24-hour care, and that means I got to get care for my parents, or I got to go in senior living. And it's like, hold on. I think you should make that decision after a couple of weeks of trying to manage this. Let's get grounded here. I really talk to everybody like they were a family member. I would talk them out of our services. I said, I don't think you need that. Let's talk about a plan. Let's take a pause here. And the problem is that people don't understand when they hear this, what they're really hearing is, what they don't really hear is, they hear is, mom needs 24-hour care. I got to hustle. What's really being said to them is, we don't want any liability whatsoever when your parent leaves here. We're recommending 24-hour care. We're putting in our records so we have our ass covered. And we don't really give a shit about how much money you do or do not have. And now we're sending you to the wolves.
Okay, well, now I'm going to stop you there, because here's the seniors real estate specialist connection right there. Because Carlos, our job is bigger than the normal real estate professional, because we're seniors real estate specialists. Our job, our business is to preserve, protect, and guide the families about their real estate asset. And one of the things, it's not always about selling the home. So if a family is facing something that Jessica just described, a lot of times families will default to, oh my God, the sky is falling and we're going to have to sell the house and all the money and all of this because. And because
the wonderful wizard is.
And it's our job to know to have all this knowledge, because then, especially in going back to the article with Wayne's article and Jessica's article, here's the conversation. Even if you're at the very onset of a prospect level listing agreement appointment and you ask the right questions, if you asked the right questions, you would have identified in that first 20 minutes that this family would have encountered that situation, and that we as the seniors real estate specialists would have offered and given information to the homeowners for them to go and find the right information for them to make their decisions. And all of that involved them speaking to their family accountant or financial planner, or who the freaking ever cares. So somebody, another party, another professional service provider says, if you sell this home, and at this point, because of your financial situation, you could be looking at $1 million capital gains tax bill. So let's give you some information on ways to mitigate that. We're always going to pay taxes, but there's strategies to manage that smartly. And Carlos, you just did a webinar on such a thing.
Julie, here's the problem. When that person gets discharged out of the medical system, they're not going to call Julie.
No, you are correct. And that's right.
And nor should they, unless
that's not our job.
Unless Julie is paired up with a bunch of home care companies and she's on their teams and she's providing that. So it takes a village.
It does.
It takes a village.
That's why I'm a senior home coach. And that's over and above.
Larry Jacobs. Oh, sorry.
Hey,
yeah, go ahead, Larry.
No, I just want to jump in because I love this conversation. I agree 100% that as professionals in real estate, we should be very well versed in the financial implications of selling real estate, right? And we should be able to provide some initial direction. You should think about this. I mean, we can't make decisions for them, but we need to help them think through what if this, what if that. Have you considered a trust? If you're not currently in a trust, have you considered, hey, the opportunity to create a step-up basis for the next generation so you don't have that tax exposure? And there might be other ways to get money out of the property if in fact they need money for elderly care. So I wanted to say that, but then transition to this because I'm more focused on multifamily apartments and things like that. So I tend to deal with folks that are a bit more sophisticated. They have trust
Mhm.
and things like that in place. So they've sort of thought through the succession or the phases of their life as they get older and have to transition into different sort of living situations. But my question is this: for someone that's trying to really learn and understand and study this space, did I hear you correctly that the right place to start is to start building relationships with those elderly care home advisors, I think you called them? And is that where the discussion needs to take place? And
I think what's happening is this is kind of like my what's happening in the system, okay? And
Mhm.
I don't want to bore you, but the
No,
medical
no.
system has changed dramatically over the last 20 years. It's changed dramatically in the last 5-10 years. And the pressure that people have to get people outside the hospital system, outside the skilled nursing, it is tremendous. It is tremendous. And the average discharge planner or social worker that was in your hospital 5-10 years ago, they don't exist anymore. They just get them out, get them out, get them out. So social workers don't understand, that they don't want to talk to people about finances. Nobody in the medical system does. No, even when people get in senior care assisted living, we don't talk to people about finances. Of course you fucking do. Of course you do. You got to tell them how much it costs, don't you? They can't, they separate it. They separate that from, so they're like, we don't talk to people about finances. Oh, so you'll rape them of their finance, you'll burn through their cash, but you don't want to talk to them about finances? That makes no sense, but that's the machine. The discharge planners, they see free placement agencies. This is the bullshit thing about the model that's going on for 30 years. Why placement agencies are able to say that they're free and use the word free, which is illegal per the FTC, and use free just casually like carrying a pocketbook around every day.
They just go at no cost to the family. At no
cost to the family. So that's what the social worker. So social workers, so you got to understand, placement agencies get fed because they have the word free on them. And so the placement agencies now, what they're doing, the really established ones, the really, there's some good ones out there. Like they've been doing this for a long time. They're seasoned. Again, it's the game. It's not they're just part of it. Now they have a real estate agent on staff. Now they have a move manager on staff. Now they have a care manager on staff. So they're diversifying. So if you're not on that team, if you're not on their team or you're not around their team, those are the people that hold the keys to the kingdom right now. But here's the other problem. All these franchises and things are blowing up like unbelievable. There's people online teaching people how to broker seniors with your phone and your laptop and not even move out of your house. That's what it's turning into. So again, it's a sales funnel. And so the way to break through this, the way to break through that barrier is to educate Gen X, and people are coming for your parents' equity. They are coming like sharks. These businesses do not survive without feeding off of your parents' equity. That there are sharks circulating and they're not even conscious of it. They're not.
And I agree. I'm 52, 53 years old, so I'm
You look
starting to feel
good.
that.
You look
Thank
good. I'm
Oh, thank you.
65. I'm 65. Just kidding.
You
Hey,
look
I'm
great.
65.
But
You look good.
but I mean, this is becoming real for us right now. I mean, I just had a friend who he's having to deal with his mother. His mother lost his stepfather, and now he's worried about, what do they do with mom, right? And so we were just talking about the fact that no one ever prepared us for this.
Well,
And so
I do every single day. I put a post on saying nobody prepared you for this every day.
exactly, no one's preparing us for this. So when you say we need to educate Gen X, I mean that resonates. That resonates with me. And
Well,
the question is, how? What do we do?
Right.
What's the next step?
Right. So the Gen X's, follow me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Because I think like that's where I've been getting a lot of attention lately, because I am Gen X and I'm like total, like, I mean, MTV, Guns N' Roses, and that's how they relate. That you can relate to the crowd when you talk to them, like meet people where they're at. And people are totally struggling. And, Gen X is one of the most, you got to play on this because it's the truth. We're one of the most resilient generations out there. Like after us became the helicopter moms and and everybody gets a trophy. And that is not, we got a bruise and we cleaned it out with the dirt that we fell on. Like that was our antiseptic, you know, Goonies. You know, that was our lives every day after school was an adventure, right? We have no parents around. The weekends we run like, you know, Skid Row. And, you know, and like, we did what we wanted and we grew up on MTV. I grew up thinking that women played electric guitar because that's what I grew up with. You know, I didn't know what they fought for that. And so we're like a different, very breed. And the one thing that Gen X doesn't want to get stuck with is they don't want to get screwed over. They want to cut through the bullshit. They want to know the bottom line on pricing. And and so you lead with telling them the mistakes that you can't tell them to prepare. You can't talk to them about like, you know, if you don't get this, like if you don't make the funeral arrangements beforehand, that is coming. That is more in the radar. But really what you have to tell them is the stories about the 97-year-old whose family fucked off $1 million. That gets their attention. You could be burning up the money that you need to pay for your parents' care for the rest of their lives. Now, I don't know who it was. I think it was that gentleman who was on before, the fiduciary, that he said that you know, people are not looking at the fiduciary responsibility that they have when they're getting in contact with this family in this stage of their life. And that's what people need to start going is like the person that you're dealing with, do they have any fiduciary responsibility to you whatsoever? Because if the answer is no, then I don't know how much you can trust them.
So
Yeah,
it sounds like
service
you're
providers.
trying to you're trying to break through the noise. So all the referrals or whatever the case may be is going to these placement agencies. You're saying, hey, look, Gen X's, you need to pay attention, and you're trying to, with your platform, get Gen X's attention so they'll stop this vicious cycle of leads going to these outplacement centers, and you know you've got these captive audiences and sharks sitting on the sidelines taking advantage of these folks because they're just being pushed through a funnel. You're trying to break that cycle somehow, more or
Well,
less.
nobody's looking, nobody's paying attention. You know, it should be the whatchamacallit, the medical system is really responsible. There should be compliance coming out of these hospitals, and nobody's paying attention to this.
That
The
industry, yeah,
social-
that's the whole thing because they're so compromised and entrenched.
No, see, this is
see.
interesting because the hospitals cannot give any kind of information or make any referrals unless anything is covered by insurance. And it's funny because, and if you have home care, which is private pay, they give you a list and they might say, you know, you might want to start with this company, but they got to give you a list of at least 3 people. For some reason, these free placement agencies get through the barrier because they have the word free, and the pressure of the hospital is to get the people out the door. I talk to directors of case management all the time. They are very much aware of what's going on in the system. Nobody's doing anything about it. Nobody's doing that. They know that it's growing, but like, look, we're in pressure to get people out of the hospital. So the social workers are not economists. They are not business people. And they go, oh God, assisted living is getting so expensive. I go, every single time you refer to a placement agency, every single time you are adding to the cost of assisted living in our community. Every time they don't see it. They don't see it like that. They don't understand.
It's
And
a big.
so,
Oh,
right.
go ahead. I'm gonna stop you right there because Michelin has a question.
I have a lot of questions. And Jessica, what exactly is your role? What do you call yourself?
I don't know. I'm always trying to find. I have an identity.
She's a symbol like I am.
You're an advocate. I could see that. But what
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
getting
definitely an advocate.
okay.
So I do a couple of things. I have I work as a business development manager on Mark Myman's team with Luminate Bank, and we are mortgage strategists. So I have a lending license, although I don't talk lending, you know, that's Mark's job. After 20 years in the industry, like in 2016, and like, but I'm like, you know, people are living longer, there's more crises, there's more acuity, people, the money's drying up. I saw that in so many different areas. I started seeing that in 2016. In 2020, I started seeing Mark Mima and make posts on LinkedIn about bridge loans and things of that nature. And I go, teach me what you're doing or what products you have that's different from anybody else, because I see what's happening with this generation, this new generation of aging population.
That
So-
was the senior living industry that you were working in,
I
right?
was a marketer for a home care company for almost 20 years. I've done lots of different things. I have a real estate license as well. I really just play a referral agent. But I saw so many different aspects, because when you do home care, you get your business from the medical sector, you get it from senior living, community-based organizations, you get it from estate planning attorneys, fiduciaries, you get it from legal financial sector. You see all these industries in the market. And so you can kind of see the waves of what's happening in skilled nursing and things like that, especially with home care, because home care is like whale shit on the bottom of the ocean. It's the bottom of the healthcare pyramid. So you can see all these waves and what's happening and how each industry is getting affected by what's going on with this current generation. And the
I want to stop you there. And I would call you advocate. And I think we're all advocates for our senior community. So in 2025, I started a back to school for seniors and their adult children, because I experienced it firsthand of what happens in some of these retirement communities, CCNRs or whatever, independent living, whatever. And I ran across other friends. One was she advocated for herself, and she got in a community and loved it. And next thing I knew, she was there, and I said, "Oh, where's Queen Anne?" And she found out going into year 2 that her rent was going to go up 10%. Well, she was paying for services that she was not using. In fact, they contacted her and said, "You need to go because you don't need us." And that was her first clue. She was paying for services she didn't need as a dependent person when she was an independent person. Long story short, she got a hold of Dave Cortese, her senator. She got a hold of a lot of people at the insurance agency, and she got some of that money back. When I found out, I was trying to help her as best I could. So we moved her over to Seniorly, which is privately ran. And I always go, whenever I refer, I always go learn about the industry myself, what they're doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She loves it. So I had another one about the same kind of a situation that's Queen Anne. And then she's there now. And I'm working on another one to go over to that community. But I'm asking you these questions because if you're advocating for, say, the whole industry, and I have somebody who does my wills, trust, estate planning, financial planning, downsizing, the right sizing. That's our next workshop. And we're working on that. And I have a mortgage broker who does one-on-ones, and they're doing it nationwide. She works for C2 Financial. And she said, "I'm doing it for all my clients." I'm her client. So she's doing it for my clients to get a one-on-one to find out where they are financially, whether they're a young adult or a senior. Where are you budgeting? Are you saving? Are you money managing? And it gets her business, and it helps me as well get more business because I'm going to follow along with whatever she's doing. But what I've done is gather partners. So 2025 was my test year. I found out and I learned a lot. You don't know what you don't know until you go through the whole process. I only could speak from my experience, having been through probate court 3 times with seniors, and I found a lot of seniors did not protect their number one asset, which is their home, with a trust, a will, and letting their children know. Their children didn't know what they had. So I'm involving the children. The series is back to school for seniors, and I used to say their adult children. Now I say adult children because they're going to have to learn the process too of long-term care because they're at that age.
Yeah, but you have to look at the stage of our society. I agree with you. I think it's really about talking to Gen X. Like if you need to like pick an avenue, pick a lane. You may or may not agree with me, but to me, my audience, who I want to message, is totally Gen X. That's who I am. That's who I want to talk to. Those are the main decision makers. I can relate to them. And I think that they're not the same as, like, no offense to millennials and Gen X or Gen Z. These are the people that are this is hitting them across the face right now. And you're right, they didn't have the education. But here's the thing. We never lived this long, right? And we really have not been watching because we don't care to age, we don't care to die, we don't care for all those things. So we've been letting this like wild, wild west, unregulated industry just keep functioning the way it is. People are like, oh my God, do you see what's happening in these skilled nursing facilities? And people aren't being, and there's wounds, and now there's all these attorneys and these commercials on trying to get people to like call up and do these lawsuits. And it's like, oh my God, it's horrible how people are treated. Okay, yeah, it is, but it's not like this is because there's so much greed. People are not making money in skilled nursing like they were 20 years ago. This is because this is just an evolution of the business. So somebody asked him, what do you do? I work on a team for like a mortgage strategist. I do real estate referrals. I've been building a website, Next Best Home, to kind of, and where it was to be the transparency for senior living, I'm totally shifting that for people that want to stay in their own homes, or if they have to understand, because more people need to decide whether or not they need to stay in their homes, right? More people want to stay,
Correct.
more people are
Right.
going to stay in their own homes as far as they can. And so
As long as they can.
as long as they can. I've been trying to rein an industry that's going to implode on itself anyway. And I'm not really interested in trying to help people on the assisted living thing. Really, the bigger crowd is, how are we going to protect mom and dad's legacy? What's the smartest things to do here? This is the last financial anchor for a lot of families. So are they educated enough to make these decisions?
That's
I
right.
think we're on the
That's right.
same
That's our
page.
job.
We're on the same page. My
Yep.
audience is different. Mine is the senior. Yours is the Gen X. I'm not mad at you. So if I could partner with you and we could do some things together, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I want to bring the more people that I can bring in to do what I do. That's where I want to make an impact on my community, because I'm finding these Gen X don't know very much at all.
Mhm.
And they're making decisions because they're uneducated. That's why I'm including them.
Then
And
nobody,
while the senior has capacity, they have a right to make some decisions. I have one right now that should be in assisted living, but she refuses. And the people at the community, at the assisted living place, they had her to sign a document. She carried on such a fuss that they let her go. But they said, when you're gone, we're going to report you Adult Protective Services to protect themselves. But she and her doctor let her go too, because she was such a corruption.
Adult Protective Services
Her own home, and that's where she is right now, and not doing very well.
No, but she unfortunately has that right.
Yes.
And there's not a lot of APS can do. And let me tell you something, because I know people that work at Adult Protective Services, Public Guardian, there's so many more people that are being found dead in their homes. So much more every day, because they're defiant, or they don't have the income, they don't have a support system. And that's just what's happening. But Lynn, you had a question. You had your hand up.
I did. Thank you so much, Jessica. And actually, as we're talking, I had a Gen Xer call, and then I had a senior call, and I have to call them back right away. But are you referable? Where do you come in, like with a financial piece? Do we refer clients directly to you then?
Everything and everybody. No, so if it's about like, if you need a family, like definitely please use me as a resource if they're kind of understanding what the cost of care are, or like what should we do. It's not nobody really has the answer to that question except for the family, right? So you can just kind of ground them, I think, because from my perspective of being in home care and understanding the costs, I think I talk to everybody that call me. This is another thing. After 20 years of being in the business, when people call you for home care, it's always the first call. Like, it's not like they have any education on this whatsoever. That's the beauty of this business, is every time you call somebody, they're just going to listen to what you tell them because they don't know any better. It's really the truth. So, so I feel like I can kind of give a little bit of grounding to the situation of where they are. That's frustrating, it's emotional. That's my piece. And then Mark is more the like, let's look at the equity in the home, and based on you having a better understanding of what your next move is, whether that means to stay home or leave the home but keep the home and sell it later, and just kind of identifying all the options just so that they have more control and they feel more empowered with the decisions that they're making. I tell you, with absolution the last 20 years that children are not making the decisions that are best for them holistically. Maybe
Right.
they made a really good decision and mom got the care, and that's great. And this is what we're happy for. But that money has been burned up.
I
And
mean, that's my first
in
question is,
smoke, in
have you been
smoke.
advised, are you aware of the capital gains? Have you been advised by the CPA? Here's my spendthrift trust guy, here's my DST guy, here's my 1031 exchange,
Yeah.
and
The
giving you
pro
options, but
the problem
so
is the biggest group of your people, the biggest qualified people that are going to have to sell homes or consider selling homes or consider pulling equity. The problem is like the biggest source is coming from the medical community.
mhm.
And that's where there's a gap. That's what I've been trying to close down that gap. And so you're not going to be able to get necessarily the traffic go to you. The only thing we can do start to doing is start educating those quality partners in the community that you want to be associated with and so that they understand even for themselves and their own families.
Mhm.
I'll tell you, all I wanted to do when I was younger was to be a pharmaceutical rep. It seemed like the so sensationalized, right? When we were like in the 80s, like, oh God, I want to grow up and do that.
Oh yeah.
That sounds like
I
a
was
hot
all over
job.
that.
That sounds like a hot, sexy job, right? But now we have like an opium epidemic. You didn't know that at the time, right? So I'm trying to tell you that I sold home care for years and I did a really good job. And I have a home in Santa Barbara and I used to have like a lot of steak dinners and martinis and taking people out, stuff like that, not thinking about how I was part of this machine that was burning up people's cash, that was breaking the backs of caregivers working for $15 an hour, changing people's diapers. It was so not part of my consciousness because I wasn't aware and I wasn't thinking about it. But then I grew in and my mother passed. Another 15 years of the industry would never prepare me for that. But you start changing your lens when you start seeing the people that you're trying to help, you see them suffer, or you see them burning through the cash, or you see when I start raising my hand with my company, go, we can't keep billing this person. I know how much they have left, and we can't keep doing it. And they just kept doing it, because they're feeding the machine. And so I can't watch that anymore. I can't watch that. You just have to lead with education so that people feel like, a little bit more empowered and, you just don't want to make the mistake. And I'm telling you that the system uses bodies like bags of flesh.
It's a commodity. They're commodities.
So we talked about this on a podcast earlier today with Tutu Carter. I said, what people need to understand is you're not going to be able to tell Gen X capital gains step up. But what you are going to be able to explain to them is how the models work right now. Once they get insight to that, like, I'm not feeding that model. I'm not supporting that. Somebody brought up Tutu today about Target. Oh, I'm sorry, Larry, you raised your hand.
Oh, so last
So,
thing, how are you compensated? Because I probably need to get off this call, but how are you compensated then, Jessica?
So, from mortgages,
Oh,
from
for mortgages.
lending
Okay.
agents, I work for a mortgage strategist. So
Oh, okay.
I'm compensated. I work for them. I do business development. And then if I have a referral, real estate referral, sometimes I get leads like that. So I refer to real estate agent in, anywhere USA, that fits the profile for that family and what they're doing and making sure that it's somebody that's advising them and that's something that they want to move forward with.
Oh, okay. Okay. But the mortgages that you handle is specifically for seniors or just for anyone?
So we do all kinds of mortgages, but I am hyper focused in the senior care ecosystem because that's where my network lies.
Oh, okay. Well,
And
I
they
guess
can-
my disconnect is how are you handling mortgages for seniors? Because they're not looking to get a new mortgage. They're
Right,
looking
right.
to-
But what we see is mostly default to reverse mortgages because that's the most advertised.
Oh, got it.
They
Got
want to
it.
stay in their own home and people don't
Oh.
understand all the bridge loan. And
Oh.
also we have curated all these products that are based on assets, not income.
Okay, so you do the reverse mortgages as
We
well.
do.
Okay.
Mark doesn't love them, but we
Okay.
can, and sometimes it's the only or best option. But
Okay.
that's rare.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know.
So
Thank
one
you
of
so
their
much.
best product offerings are the bridge loan systems. And there's a lot of circumstances that we encounter when we're working with our families of senior homeowners. And also the asset based.
Yes, asset versus income, or not
Yeah.
necessarily income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Larry, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just had a quick question about long-term care. How do long-term care insurance, how does that play into everything that we're talking about? We haven't touched on that at all.
Yeah. So it's an interesting long-term care insurance for like the past 20 years, and it's going on that too. It's like it's astronomical now. There's some hybrid solutions if you ever want to have a long-term care insurance specialist. I have plenty of them, if you want me to connect you with them.
Mhm.
So long-term care insurance, well, over the years, how that's evolved is in the very, very beginning, it paid for skilled nursing, and then it kind of extended to assisted living communities, and it extended to home care, and will further extend into like electronics. So there's like all these the transitioning in long-term care. So long-term care insurance 20 years ago paid for a lot more. It's not meeting the needs anymore as much as, that's because it's out. The costs are so out. What's the word I'm looking?
Well, it got
Outpacing
outpaced.
the
Yeah.
expense
Yes,
of
the costs are
yeah.
outpaced. Thank you.
Yeah.
The costs, the other thing. So but I could talk all day on this. There's so many different companies that are coming into this marketplace that are like trying to grab the long-term and care insurance people that have claims and lead them to certain home care companies. And that's what Care Scout just bought Seniorly. That's what they're doing. They're taking over and they want to get that piece of that pie of people that have long-term care insurance. So, but to get a new policy right now is really tough. There's different hybrids. And like, if you look at the kind of population, the hard thing about long-term care insurance, a lot of people have them. Even we cannot afford what's going on, the amount of people that do the claims. And there's a tremendous amount of people that never open up a claim that should have. That's really sad. Or there's people that are living in these, beautiful homes and they can't meet the elimination period. They got a certain policy that says you have to pay out of pocket for 30 days or 60 or 90 days before you can open up the claim. And some people just don't have the money for that. They don't.
Mm.
So long-term care insurance is a huge rabbit hole. Skip is an expert on it.
Mhm.
We've done a couple of episodes on it, and we will continue to do more because there's always an update to learn. And that's a good overview, Jessica, for sure. And it is a quagmire and it's a challenge. And it's a very small percentage of people that have long-term care insurance.
I think I hate, like, you don't want to, all of us, we want to operate from a place of abundance and sharing and knowledge. And I'm trying to get out of this, but my focus from what I've seen over the years is I just see this shrinking pie of equity and money for your average family that never prepared for this. And the amount of sales funnels and companies, it's like the green rush, it's like the gold rush. This is the silver rush, but there's not the gold and there's not the green cannabis. There were not nearly as much for the amount of people that are coming into this marketplace and trying to get a piece of the pie.
Other than the over $1 trillion equity position that the baby boomers have at this moment.
Yeah, but I believe that, it's the other piece that I believe is I believe that your average American does not have even enough equity to care for what's about to happen. They certainly don't have enough to use that and to give to their family like the generation before. That's where you're going to see this. There's another person that was on the phone. I know he had to leave, the fiduciary. He said something
No,
about.
he's right there.
Oh.
Avery's right there.
Oh, Avery, he said something about
I'm here.
estate planning attorney. So this is what's happening with estate planning attorneys right now. There are so many people, the volume of calls that are going up right now to estate planning is crazy. But it's callers that just go, oh yeah, I need a POA. They know that they need a POA to get control of mom and dad's whatever. And they think that they're gonna call up an attorney and order it like shakes and, like I need a side of fries.
Exactly.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
But I can
know.
see this. I can see this from
I know.
every referral source that I got. Like I know that industry and I know how that senior care ecosystem is affecting that industry. And what people do is like don't sing like this is go time, right? The American dream has got to change because people are going to be very deflated that the American dream that we had is not the one that we focus. If we keep focusing on that same American dream, you're going to have a lot of like struggling people, disappointed people, striving for what they can't achieve. It's like it's not doable anymore. So we have to change what that looks like for people.
Well, and I really connect with your perspective of education is what we're going to have to concentrate on. As being service providers, professional service providers, and we're going to do that. We're going to serve our clients. We're going to serve our consumers. We're going to serve our senior homeowners and the families of senior homeowners through education. We're going to be a resource for education for all of these topics that we covered today. And that's what's a seniors real estate specialist and all of us that work in the senior ecosystem now, that's where we're going. We're going to see a huge movement towards that starting, well, it's already started. So, Carlos, did you have another comment?
Yeah, so you mentioned that our job is to preserve assets. What do you say?
I think that you have to, when you're looking at all these families, and I know what you said, Carlos, before is like, I'm hired to do a job and sell the family home. That's what they hired me to do. But that's not being responsible. That's not being, responsible or accountable to this group of people and what they're going for the stage of life. What you don't want to do is you don't want to walk into Bell blindly, handle a transaction, and then years find out later that you left this person destitute, that they ate up or burned up all the money that they needed in order to care for a loved one. If you're not looking at that at these people's stage of life, then you're not being responsible. Then you're not being an SRES, right?
Exactly.
And that's my point, that we need to surround with people like Jessica who are experts.
I'm
because
here.
I cannot be an expert at everything, okay?
No, you can't. That's why I'm saying is like the placement agencies and the home care company, at least the placement, this is what I see, is wising up. There are placement agencies that are going, well, I'm going to get my real estate license because now they have the power, now they have the control, and now they want to get paid more. And like I said, the placement agencies are not negotiating on behalf of their clients. Now, if senior real estate specialists were messaging the audience, these are the questions you should ask for assisted living. Not like, oh, this, you should be like, are they going to raise their rates? How many times do they typically do it? What kind of tiered thing are they going? Protect your money, protect the equity. And like you have to kind of like look at it from a different perspective. You have to kind of, take out the oh, we have a really nice, activities and stuff like that. It's like, that's great. You want to know about all those things for the home care, but you
It's like the
know,
HOA expert, right, Jessica?
you have to an
Yeah.
HOA.
For seniors.
Okay,
Well-
I have to interject here for a minute. I
Can
gotta
I ask just
jump
one
off.
question, Skip?
No,
Oh, go
not
ahead.
yet. I gotta jump off on another call, but I just want to remind you, next week will be patient advocates, and that'll be the final one for the year. We hope you all can attend that. That will actually help with some of this discussion, which I'm anxious to see, on the recording after I get off. But I will see you all next week then. So
Bye.
thanks.
Thanks, Skip.
Thank you, Skip.
Thank you, Skip.
I don't know if this is
What's
mine.
stop, Jessica, just real quick. What's stopping a real estate company from being or trying to put itself in the placement service business?
Oh no, we're
right? I
already
mean,
doing that, Larry. We're
Oh, you
already
are?
doing that. Oh, yes, it's already happening and
Okay.
it's shaking out
No,
and
no.
it's forming and it's fomenting. And we have a lot going on with that. So,
When
and that's
you
a
say
whole
we,
episode all by
who's we?
itself.
You
Who's we
understand
when you say we?
the placement agencies have been first man in for a long time. First
Yeah.
man in for a long time. And when real estate agents start representing themselves like, I'm thinking about kind of white labeling where Next Best Home is going for agents because I want agents, they should be shown as somebody who has access to this community. I'm a senior real estate specialist. That means that I have a financial advisor, a tax attorney, a fiduciary, a move manager, a dump truck, assisted living, home care, hospice nurse. I got that all in my back pocket because I'm SRES, and that's the
Oh,
difference.
so you're saying SRES will become sort of the de facto placement agency.
I
Is
think
that,
that SRES is
yeah,
not quite enough, but it definitely does give a different designate, and it is, and I think the SRES is starting to like wise up. Like I think like they have been asleep for so many years, and I remember when a couple years ago
mm,
there was that lawsuit with like Cars NARS, and they're like they were taking away the buying commission, and you had all these people freaking out, and I go, what are you freaking out for? You got tons of business out there that you're not paying attention to, that you're completely unaware of, but it's just going to be a matter of time because people are hungry, and people are going, real estate agents are going, how is a unregulated, unlicensed, unclinical market making $500,000 a year, making
mm,
$75,000 a month, and
mm,
and are not negotiating on behalf of their clients and taking all this money? That is the
mm.
biggest pile of horseshit.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
Larry, in your market, so Larry's in Southern California too. Jessica's in
What
Santa
and
Barbara.
what do you do, Larry?
I'm in
I'm
Encino.
all fired up today. I had
Yeah, yeah, I know.
I
Yeah,
haven't had caffeine in like I just do like green tea every day and kind of chill. And like
that's great.
today I'm like
I
I
need
just feel
whatever
like
you're on. I definitely I need some of that. I'm down in
Fired up
Encino,
is
so
great.
we can catch up offline for sure. Because I there's certainly a lot more questions I want to ask you.
You're in
But
where?
Encino. I'm in
In
Southern California.
So there's yeah, I got to connect you with Mark. Mark just got a gig where he's almost going to be in an Encino office almost every day because there's this big ADU thing going on, and they want to bring Mark in,
Yeah,
want him there every day in a chair in Encino. So you guys definitely got to get together. And
okay. Yeah, I
Are
love
you
it.
on LinkedIn, Larry?
I am.
Are you under
I am.
Lawrence? Because I couldn't find you.
No, you'll find me Larry Jacobs. If
Larry.
you look for, I worked for Shell for 30 years up until about 6 months ago.
Shell?
It's a Shell Oil Company. Yes.
Okay, I see you.
Yeah.
Okay, and now you're working for a property company that does what?
I can tell you offline. I don't want to get,
Oh, okay,
this
because
is,
yeah.
I'm just gonna say
I'm
real
independent.
quickly,
Yeah.
yeah, Larry, in your market, there and you'll see the local senior living communities like the Atrias and the Brookdales and such, right? Um,
Mhm.
so and the Merrill Gardens. So also look for, and you can Google
Oh,
this.
wait, Merrill Gardens?
Well, or there could be a Merrill Gardens in his market in
Wait,
Encino
wait,
No,
area.
what's your
you know
affiliation
what?
with Merrill Gardens?
No, I'm not
I
affiliated with
just
anyone.
Oh,
I was just saying that there's these communities that are in his market. And then looking at your market, look for senior placement professionals, Oasis, Seniorly, other types. Those are the senior placement professionals that's an unlicensed, unregulated placement agencies. Now, the last couple of years, and it's concentrated starting last year, that industry and our small little faction of SRES is starting to come together and starting to figure out how we're going to collaborate and move forward. There's actually litigation going on in other parts of the country to create a licensed situation for these placement agencies because in some places that seems to be necessary. That's a whole nother nutshell. This is a huge industry perspective that's going on right now, Larry. And there are some peoples that I call that are jumper honors. Okay, right, Jessica? They're like,
yeah.
they see something and they're jumping in and they think that they can just get in and get quick. And
Well,
go
there's
ahead.
well-intentioned people out there too. I have to tell you
Yeah,
that this is a game, right? And I've seen
yeah.
so many people make so many biased decisions that are really going to impact families for the rest of their life. And they think that like it's because the industry's been so wild. There's no real guidelines, right? There's some people that have tried to implement some code of ethics, but I'm telling you, even the nicest people or the most well-intentioned people are making biased decisions for the family. They're incentivized, right? So they're making decisions based on their incentives, and the industry itself. For one hand, the real estate agents own senior living real estate, and that's what started this whole bullshit model. And then everybody started breaking away and started creating their own shops. So what you have right now is the senior care wars, and franchises that are doing placement are fighting against the lobbyists of A Place for Mom. This is the big investigations are going on right now, and they're fighting with each other. Who is not in the fight is the local sole proprietor who's doing it. They're not in the fight, right? And then so the assisted livings, because this is where we are in this piece of history, the placement agencies are going. I have to put my fan on. I'm getting all worked up and hot. I said the placement agencies are going, or no, the assisted livings are going. We don't do any national contracts anymore. F Place for Mom, ask caring.com. They give us shitty leads anyway. But you know who gives us good leads and who's actually doing the work? Who's actually doing the work is the senior placement specialists. And they're bringing us quality leads, and they're getting the heads in the beds. So we're going to give them, so you know what happens is they're part of the problem. Some of these assisted livings will call up a local placement specialist, not A Place for Mom, not caring.com, that's a huge company and overhead. And they go to the senior placement and they go, I'll give you 150% of the first month of rent if you can get ahead in the bed today. And so the placement specialist goes 150% the first month rent. Do you know how much money that is for a local placement?
A lot of money.
So there's the pressure to get the heads in the beds. What you have to understand is, like, my buddy is in Irvine, California, works for a major company, can't get a low organic lead to save their lives because of all these sales funnels. So they pay the market $100,000 per year, plus their bonuses. Plus they'll pay for the local placement specialty that just brought somebody in, $6,000 a head. Then A Place for Mom goes, we talked to that family's second cousin's brother, sister, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Fuck you, pay us. And if you
Yeah.
don't, we're going to take you down. So they
Yeah.
go, oh, so now you have somebody, you've paid $20,000 to get a head in a bed. And my buddy can't get one penny over $9 for breakfast, lunch, and dinner budget per head every day. But you'll pay 20 grand a head. And they can't get better quality meat to pay these seniors. It's disgusting.
All right, I'm gonna segue there. Michelin's got one last question.
Okay. Thanks for giving me the podium.
I'm sorry.
This worked out great. What a blessing, Jessica. Go ahead.
I know.
This is just clarification. Did I hear you say that elderly, what was the other one? Elderly and Oasis are unlicensed?
You mean the Oasis company that does senior placement?
Yes, Oasis, and Julie just mentioned it. Oasis and
Seniorly, and those
Seniorly is
agents, they're not required to have licenses.
I would call Oasis.
It's a franchise.
Senior Care
Place-
Authority, Care for
Yeah.
People. These that they're not the only ones, but those are franchises. And yeah, no, you don't have to have any clinical background. You don't have to have any experience in the industry. Nothing.
okay, so there are placement agencies that are unlicensed. It's Oasis and elderly. Is it elderly?
I think seniorly. Seniorly is something else. It's
Yeah.
Senior Care Authority.
Seniorly what happened is, which is just got bought by Care Scout. And so I really wish I was a senior care economist. Seniorly Care Scout just bought Seniorly. What Seniorly did was, Place for Mom comes in the market and they start being referrals, and they drive in, they go, you know what, we can't keep up with these care homes. They're too small. We just got to go for the top tier. We just got to go for the places that have like 50 to 300 beds, and those are our customers. We can't get to the boarding cares. So then over time, there's senior living placement agencies popping up all over the place. So much like Zillow, Seniorly came into the market and said to the placement agency, we're going to put you on the website. We're going to give you leads. If you get a lead, you're going to pay us. But they use the placement, and they go, if you don't want it, we're going to go to the placement guy down the town. So it's like they kind of squeeze them into, you have no choice. Do you want us to give it to another placement agency, or do you want the referral fee? But we're going to take a cut. Well, what happened was, over the years, like it depends on the market, but Seniorly is not that great. So the placement specialists got away with it because the leads weren't that great, and the real estate agents are starting to get in there as Seniorly, kind of like the Zillow model. But it's not what it used to be, people. And also, the reason why CareScout bought Seniorly is because Seniorly is taking all those assisted living communities and home care companies and credentialing them. And they want the people that have long-term care insurance claims with their partners that are credentialed, and they're taking a piece out of that. This is a disgusting machine, people. It is outrageous on the sales funnels that are going out with their families and how who's getting a piece of what.
So
I've had dealings with all of them. When you said Seniorly, you just mentioned, but what did you say about Elder Life and Oasis?
So
That's what I'm
Elder
not
Life
getting.
Solutions is a company that has been doing bridge loans and is
Right.
very well known into senior living, but they don't have a real array of products and services. They're really stuck on one thing that's not very affordable. They just have they're like the Kleenex, right? They have the brand because they grew up in the assisted living industry, but even they are kind of getting away from it because some of their products, they have very little, and that's not really helping the families. That's why Mark and I
Right.
came in the marketplace and go, why are people using this? And they're not really, it's not helping the families holistically. And
Right.
and then half the time they can't even use them. And so that's why Mark and I go, this is great. We're getting into the marketplace. We're teaching people. This is really good timing. We're creating partnerships with assisted living communities and home cares. It's taken a really long time. But
And you're saying the same thing about Oasis as unlicensed and not, because I know they've been on our calls before.
So
yeah, I mean,
Michelin, Jessica, let me explain. Michelin, Oasis.
Yes.
We have two Oasis franchise holders. Well, one now, but okay. So our colleague Mike Scoggins,
yeah.
he is our senior living placement specialist in our market. He's in our group. He is
For
not licensed.
Oasis.
There is no. He is not licensed. He owned the Oasis, the local Oasis franchise, and then he sold it to Nikel. Nikel has it now.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Nikel
Nicole,
has
yes.
it now. Now, I'm just saying, the Oasis franchise placement services for families is not a license, not certified, not anything. They just are franchises to do a business.
Okay.
So, but we know Mike and we know Nikel.
Right.
So put that in your mind. You can place that how they are because we know them. So licensed or unlicensed, it's not relevant. They are our colleagues in our market. Now, the licensing discussion is separate and important. And they have opinions and observations on that as well. Because we are licensed by the state of California, but we're also certified in many, like SRES is a certification and a designation. And we also belong to an association that has a very specific code of ethics. Not every industry has such, but this is just how we think. We think that everybody's like that. Well, it's not
Right.
true. So
I'm just
I mean,
saying, who regulates them?
nobody,
nobody. So you
not
don't
even the
understand.
CFPB,
You don't
hardly.
even understand the amount of things that these people do. There's one woman in I think it was Inland Empire. She is so crazy. She moved a resident out of somebody's board and care, moved him out. I think it was like Sacramento area. While the woman was not there, the administrator there, she took the woman and actually physically moved her into another location. This administrator called the police, and she was like coming unglued about this. Like, how do you take a person and move them? And the police did not understand dementia and like that. They talked to the woman. And I don't know what they talked to the family, and they said that they're okay with that. And the police officer's like, they didn't know what to do. And the administrator's like, how could you take somebody physically out of residential care facility and transport them without the administrator being there? Like, it's almost like kidnapping. And so but who do you report this person to? Who do you
Who?
report this person? Who, if a family, they don't, here's the thing, Julie, you think that they don't, but you think you want to say that even SRES, like has this higher code of ethics. But Wayne Bell will tell you, no, it's not true. Like they don't understand the fiduciary responsibility they have to families. There's no fiduciary responsibility as a placement specialist. None. None.
I would think
I
that they
did
would want some kind of licensing regulation or to
no.
protect
People
themselves.
people are frantic and they're just going by who the medical system tells. That's why I'm telling you that's the problem with the trust in the system. There is no trust in the system. I talked to a placement specialist. He's been a placement specialist in Santa Barbara County for 20 years. 20 years. I just called him the other day. I go, there's 12 companies in your area of 150 residential care facilities. Are you nervous? No, because there's 4 companies of us. We've got the majority of the business. It doesn't really affect us. I go, what about capital gains? What about step-up basis? Do you understand that? I go, he goes, well, we're free to the families. I go, do you understand that that's a pass-through charge and it's illegal to use the word free if you're getting a referral fee? He just blew over that. Didn't pay attention because he didn't know, he doesn't care. And then I said, what about capital gains? What about step-up basis? Are you familiar with that? No. Are they real estate agents that you're partnering with to help families move? Do they know? I don't know. I assume they do. So here's a guy, 20 years in the business, moving people down the conveyor belt, down it's just a pile of meat. Look at bags of meat, bags of flesh going down the conveyor, just doing them and everybody getting a piece of the pie. This is a guy that's been doing this for 20 years and gives no consideration on what this is going to mean to the family, long-term care, and if the family can really cost. It's not his concern. It's not of his concern. So when Carla said, I'm hired to do the real estate, well, if you're signing up to be SRES, like you have to be like, but you're signing up to be a specialist for seniors. And if you don't understand this piece and it's not ingrained in you and you don't have the compassion to teach people so they don't if you're not concerned about the long-term care plan, then why are you SRES? It's got to be a piece of it. So I think
You
that.
want me to answer to that?
What,
Can I say
Carlos?
something about it? Yeah, I just wanted you to know that I have resources for key people like you, Jessica, who can explain this to the customers. I don't have all the resources you have. I don't have the resources for the 1031 exchange like the webinars I've been presenting.
Oh.
That's why I bring people in to webinars to educate people.
Yeah. No, Mark and I would love to do that. We'd love to. That's what we paired up because I kind of speak to, I don't have the financial literacy or the interest. Mark is like a financial literate, like a professor, in my opinion. Like I just zone out when he starts talking. It's been a year we're together and I still can't listen to what he says. But what I bring is the kind of the education on long-term care piece to it. So I'm kind of going, is this the right thing? And Mark will always end. Here's another piece that people don't understand. There's a couple of families that have come into our radar. Mark is giving them the options and he will say, these are 3 to 4 different options. This is how they'll all play out. I still recommend that you speak with a financial advisor or a tax accountant, right? And I go, Mark, can't say that to these people. You have to say, this is who I believe you can. And if you need those resources, we can connect you, but don't leave them with you should talk to and leave them because they'll go into another state of paralysis. And we're not helping the families by that. I said, don't ever end something with you talk to. You always end it with, is there somebody that we can connect you with and make this easier? Because they can't make these decisions without those specialists. It does take a village. And the reality is you're talking to a lot of families that didn't prepare for this and you're hitting them, they're getting smacked in the face and they need that team, that village to come in for them. The only way they have the village is if you have educated professionals like us that are communicating with each other. We're all tools in each other's toolboxes.
I have this idea that seniors need to be prepared when they are younger and put something together in a will explaining what exactly they want.
No, I'll tell you, I did this for 20 years and there's nothing changing in this market that when people call for care, they're calling for the first time. I could say that in 2004 and I could say that in 2025. The majority of all the callers will be like, it's not like, oh, we were thinking about this. We're really trying to get ahead of it. I was thinking about talking to my mom. No, no, nothing changes. They come out of the medical system. You need care. Here's some resources. And those resources are not financially literate. And they're taking these people down the track. That's how it happens. Nothing you say. There's financial advisors every day preaching and advertising and stuff like that. It doesn't change what's really happening, what really does happen. I'm telling you, it happens. People are not educated, they don't care, and then they get sucked into this portal that eats up their money because the people that are caring for them or in the care support system supposedly are not financially literate themselves.
Lynn.
Yeah, sorry. I know I love your passion, Jessica. I can feel it through the Zoom, and I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, when I usually get called by the Gen Xers is because something happened. Someone's had a fall, someone now has ALS or XYZ, and Linlin can, you talk to us, our family, because now we need to move mom and dad into XYZ. So great. So I come, the family's there. I just wanted to see what your recommendation, because I felt like, I am a concierge of sorts, as we all are here. And that's why we're all here, because we're here to learn about all of these services, including the ones you offer, so that we're able to, hear their situation and be able to refer them to the proper people. So, sometimes it's very overwhelming, there's a lot to family.
There's a lot to unpack.
There's a lot to
So
unpack.
many different layers.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, like, what else do you think I should be doing? Because I'm there at the kitchen table, families sitting around with their notebooks. And then basically, I first start to ask about if they have any idea, about the capital gains, because obviously I have heard those stories, and that mortifies me that agents don't know about that. Like, that should be the first, because nobody wants to pay, hundreds of thousands, $1 million in capital gains. Like, we like Uncle Sam, but not that much.
Yeah.
I show up with net sheets. Yeah, like, this is what you're going to get, as is, refresh, completely modeled, because I don't want any bad surprises, when it comes to time to close and they have all these expenses that they didn't know about. So, but when I'm asking them that question, that goes to the next level, okay, is, so I'm asking just basically fact finding. And then once I hear their situation, then I'm like connecting them with, okay, I actually had some seniors, they're doing a 1031 exchange because they're not in a hurry to buy their next place close to the kids. They're renting it out. So I'm helping them with that part of it, and eventually doing that, because I also have a property management firm, which I'm helping them out on that end.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, so it's like the whole solution, because they're like, oh, we see you as a concierge assessor. Okay, great. Well, do you want to do a Delaware statutory trust or a deferred sales trust? And knowing, the differences between we're knowing enough about everyone's services so that you can make the proper referral. So that's kind of like what I see. But what else do you think I should be doing? Should I be referring them to someone like you, or your Mark? It sounds like your business partner, that can give them more of a financial consultation.
Right. Yes, I think that you could definitely, put as part of like your team. Like, we should be an extension of your team. I talked a little bit earlier about the woman that has the company that is a financial concierge service for assisted communities.
Yes.
You should consider as part of your team. Like, we're part of your financial concierge team.
Yes. And what is her name? And is she, or I mean, do you have her contact?
I'll have Jessica give me all of her information, and I'll put her in the bulletin.
She works for assisted living. She's got that company. She's got that company that's a financial concierge for assisted livings. She's not a financial concierge for you. You create your own financial concierge team. We're part of it, right? Like, we're part of a financial concierge team for assisted livings. There's a woman that's created a company for this. You should look at Mark and I and be like, hey, this is the situation, Mark. This is the situation, Mark and Jess. This is the equity. This is where we're going. For the best of our knowledge, this is what we think is like life expectancy. what do you guys think? What are other options of what they can do? How can they pull equity from the home?
So are you available to schedule Zoom with
Yeah.
my clients and I? So, okay, here's
Or you
Jessica.
can call Mark. We could use Zoom. We'll get you on the phone with Mark, and then you'll have our phone numbers, or you'll have a link to our Zoom. I'll put our link. I'll put Mark and our link to our Zoom in the chat right here.
That's perfect because what I when I am a fan of is I just sit in on those meetings. It's because I'm not the principal, but here are your service providers. Let me connect you on a Zoom, which I'm participating in because I need to know what's going on because I'm kind of handling the entire process, right? So kind of that's like yeah, if you're able to do that, that's great because rather than giving the information to me and then, then to them, it's like they hear it from the horse's mouth. That's my favorite. Yeah.
And sometimes people will actually call, they'll give a heads up and go, Mark, I'm meeting with this family at this time. Just if you're available, can you just get on the phone so I can put you on speaker?
Oh.
And he'll be available for something like that. What you got to understand is this is why Mark and I are doing what we do is I worked for home care for 20 years. And what I did was I got the business from the social workers who are in front of the families who are making these care decisions, right? And they're always going to start with what is covered by insurance, which is going to be home health, physical therapy, occupational therapy. There might be a social worker in the home. I networked with the social workers. I helped them do their jobs. They didn't want to leave the house without having the family connected with like some additional care. I got a reputation for being just give it to Mikey, just give it to Jessica because she's just going to get it done. She's going to know who to talk to. I was very transparent in what I was saying to the families, even in front of the social workers. I was telling them the truth. I talked to everybody like they were my family or they're a friend of my family. I had nothing to lose by telling the truth because it wasn't, as I saw the industry changing, I saw that there was no way of giving the same quality of care that we had seen in the beginning. There was no way that they were getting the support that we were selling. But I do know that the costs were going up and the quality was going down. And that was my reputation on the line. So I had to be honest with people and tell them exactly what I thought. I would refer them. I go, what you want is a safety net for your family. So I'm going to give you my name. I'm going to introduce you to the people that I work with, but I'm also going to give you my competition. Because if you want to do right by your family, you want to do right by your parent, you should be able to be in a position of power so that the company that you work with knows that you got a backup plan, that you're not playing this, and they're not in control. You're in control. And that's how you build trust in the beginning because you're telling them the truth. And I've said, look, I'd rather you deal with a company that you're comfortable with and is giving your parent, your loved one, the kind of care that your expectation. If we're not meeting it, we're not meeting it. And I could care less because I knew it was the right thing to do. My company could never keep up with me anyway. I got so many phone calls, it didn't matter.
Right.
Doing the right thing was the best thing I could do, right? Because I could sleep at night.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, rather than it's being your competition, I mean, in a way, this is our field. We're very competitive, real estate, but we are collaborators because I do a lot of referrals to other agents. And so
I think for you too, when you're talking to the family and they're deciding what they're doing, whether they're doing home care or assisted living, that's why I believe that you need to have a network. You just don't have one home care person. You just don't, because the industry is so incestual. There's so much employee turnover.
Yeah.
You have to feel very confident that you have 2 or 3 resources for any particular one, so that you're kind of getting their opinion on what's going on in the market at any given time. There are some buildings there, assisted living, that are absolute shit. They might have the orchids, they might have the chandeliers, they might have they might have the floors that you can clean on, but their care is shit.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you right there. That's a whole rabbit hole. And that's a whole nother episode because it's so true.
Yes,
So
and so
here's
it's not
the
about
thing.
that. It's about the facilitators. It's about the care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the thing for us as SRES, having all this knowledge base when we're working with our senior homeowners and the families of senior homeowners just makes us a higher and better option for the families to get through whatever challenge it is that they're facing. And then Carlos, so I have to check, but I coined the preserve, protect, and guide the family and their real estate asset because elder fraud and just starting at the very top is such a big problem. So as for us as seniors real estate specialists, we're there for the transition, not the transaction. The transaction is a part of the transition, and we're transition facilitators. That makes us different than realtors. I'm just going to say, because we're recording now, eventually we're probably going to be realtors in and of ourselves as seniors real estate specialists, all completely autonomous from the all capitals realtor. So that's where it's going.
Mhm. I think collectively, if I had my vision and dream, is if I could connect, like to pull this off, especially in California, but other states too. The SRES network, if we got together and I explained to everybody, hey, look, let's bring transparency to this market. Let's share the inventory. Look, what is real estate? Location, 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 and scarcity. If people had an insight to the inventory in assisted living, do you know how powerful that would be for real estate agents?
Oh, it's huge.
Why?
That's why, yeah, it's huge.
Why don't you guys have the inventory? You know why? Because there's not money in it by having the inventory. That a place where mom has beaten people down so much when they go to the internet and things like that. It's like they look like they hold the keys to the kingdom. They don't. There's not been money in kind of identifying the inventory. But if we pull our resources together, we say, no, here's the inventory. That should be the least of your worries.
Yeah, we have a start on that. We have a start on that, especially in our market. And if you'll remember last month, I had the senior living community event. And because we have a bunch of brand new inventory coming onto the market. And I endeavor to create an opportunity for real estate professionals to bring that information to their databases. So, and you're right, Jessica, because that's something that you've been looking at for a while, and we're gonna build on that. So
We have
go ahead.
we have websites. So there are so many websites with seniors facilities with senior living places. There are so many websites already. So it's just a matter of putting them together with links. That's it.
With what? Links?
Links for websites to help.
Well, what
seniors
Jessica's
No.
talking about is data. Jessica's talking about inventory aggregation and availability, much like an MLS for senior living.
But
Senior
even
living units.
in the Bay Area, you got to see what's happening in the transition that's happening with housing. There's Front Porch is a major organization, and they have done an extension out of assisted living is trying to pair seniors up in their own homes. Like that aren't going to go to senior living.
Yeah.
Share housing. This is another kind of model that's coming into
Oh, yeah.
play.
It's exponential. It's exponential. Yeah.
Oh, Mark just wanted to say hi because he's
Hi, Mark.
Wait,
Say hi, Mark.
Can you get him in? I think he's waiting to get into your waiting room.
I don't have a waiting room, and we're already we are so over today, but oh my gosh, this was such a blessing, Jessica. And we had such a great conversation.
Yeah. No,
and this is just the beginning. So it's just the beginning. Things are going to get huge in 2026. So I hope everybody got some takeaway out of today's discussion, some spark. I'm spending the next couple weeks that we're going to be off writing my business plan for 2026.
Nice.
There's probably going to be a couple of things that I'm going to share with our group specifically because part of that business plan is our group.
Mm-hmm.
So, if anybody has any sparking, any brainstorming, any ideas going on for 2026, write it down, ping me, write it down on a piece of paper and share it with our group when we meet on Tuesdays. Market Makers starts in 5 minutes. Okay. And I want to make sure, okay, the bulletin, hello. Read the bulletin. All these resources, every single resource. Carlos, this is just a little snippet of the resources we have available to us. Jessica's got things in mind. I got things in mind. Do you know there's a thing called the Blue Book? Well, we don't have a Blue Book here, but eventually we're going to have a Blue Book. I'll tell you what that is later. Jessica, you probably know what it is.
Well,
Anyway,
there already is a kind of a blue book in senior living, but no, we definitely need it.
yeah, exactly.
There already kind of is one out there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I feel like the thing that's going to kind of really shape and change the market, if there is a group like this, and we combine efforts. That's the difference between senior living ecosystem 20 years ago and now. There's no coalition, it's all competition. And if the real estate market starts connecting with each other and people with like code of ethics, it is going to like reach a completely different crowd. It's going to change and shape it, and I'm happy to help and participate anyway.
That's the direction we're going. This whole group was started by myself as a collaboration in 21. So, and that's where we're going, as a collaboration, not a competition.
Can I add something?
Go ahead.
Is
Yeah.
this sort of like what you were talking about when you say 21? I think that's when I came aboard with Annalie Kruger with the aging plan.
Annalie is definitely part of my tribe.
She's my number one resource.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to get a certification through her when she's finished
We're
her
still working
coursework.
on that. She's got a
okay.
new cohort. She's got a new cohort coming up in early 2026. So that's another nutshell, Micklin.
Okay, let's do it.
So I have an idea, a question for Jessica.
Yeah.
So do you think children have their best interest for the parents?
No, sometimes they absolutely don't. There's a lot of pieces of shits out there and they just go, I want the best care for my parent. And you go, okay, well, and I didn't really know much. And I go, well, did your mom pay for home, her home? And like the conversation ended when they go, oh, I want the best care for my parent. And then they go, no, I'm not gonna, no, she promised me that. Well, your
That's
mom
her
also
inheritance.
didn't know she's
Her
gonna live to
inheritance.
100. She didn't know she was going to live to 102. Here's a virtual conference. I encourage you guys to all sign up for this virtual conference that we're having in March, where like one day is going to be senior living ecosystem, the next day is going to be real estate. And we're starting to kind of pull together sponsors and also speakers and kind of, so get in on that, because this is the kind of group that
All
they're sharing
right.
practices that need to network with each other.
Let's do it. Amazing.
I
All
have a-
right, everybody.
Thank you, Julie.
Have a good week.
Thank
you
Thank
so
you,
much,
Jessica.
Julie.
Thank you so
Hugs to
much.
everybody.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you.